What's up, everybody? Red Cloud Gamer here, bringing you episode 2 of my Game Talk podcast. I am solo again today. My recording schedule just makes it a challenge to really bring on a partner with any regularity right now. I'm working on the problem, but until it's fixed, it's going to be just me. I'll try to breeze through these so you're not stuck listening to one voice for too long. I know I myself prefer podcasts where there's at least a duo of hosts, so you can have people banter and bounce ideas off each other. So I'm trying to bring that to you as soon as I can. Before I get this started, though, I want to say thank you to the two people that did reach out to me on Twitter. You both had some really good input. And to the one guy that said, I should have an outline in front of me for while I'm doing the show so it stays focused. I do have one sitting in front of me. I don't know why I didn't think of that originally. It's just a smart idea. So thanks for that. And everybody out there, keep it up. I really didn't expect to get any community engagements after just the first episode, so that was a pleasant surprise. If you have any ideas, any thoughts, whatever, hit me up. I will take it under consideration. All of my social media is on the bottom of the screen right now. And really, anything you got, any input, any questions you want answered, whatever, just shoot them to me, and I'll do what I can to get it taken care of. Jumping right in, I like to start with what I've been playing lately. Those of you watching this, instead of just listening, you can see that Tony Hawk is on your screen. I have been playing a little Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remaster. I said in the last video that Tony Hawk 2 is one of my all-time favorite games. So pretty much if one of my friends hits me up and says, hey, let's play some Tony Hawk, I'm probably going to say, okay, let's play some Tony Hawk, provided I have the time, of course. This was actually my first foray into online in this Tony Hawk. I wasn't doing great. I wasn't doing great. When you go online, it balances out your stats. You don't have the same moves that you have offline. I still did okay. There's a couple modes in there I'm not a fan of. As you'll watch the video, you'll see that I completely stop trying when graffiti comes on. I really only do like trick attack, score challenges, and combo challenges. But it's a great game. If anybody wants to play, I'm on most nights after midnight Eastern. So, hit me up. You want to play some Tony Hawk, I'm down. I've been playing a little Avengers. I talked about this in my last video. I do like the game, but I'm playing it less and less. And I know there was just a big story with the game director talking about how he believes people will come back to the game as more content comes. And I think for some of us he's right, because even though I haven't completely abandoned the game, I will play it more once there's more content. I know we're supposed to get both Hawkeyes and a new Outpost at some point. I think this month is what I read. So that'll get me playing again. My problem is, people compare this game to other games as a service. Destiny, Anthem, Monster Hunter, stuff like that. I think it compares favorably to Destiny at launch. I remember getting Destiny early on, and I played it, and I loved it, but there weren't raids, and there wasn't a lot of extra content. And I remember maxing out my character pretty early and then giving up. But then they added content, I came back, and I was hooked for a while. I played the hell out of Destiny. I don't really know what content they can add to this game that's going to get me hooked like Destiny did. Will I play it again whenever they add content? Yes, because I'm a Marvel fan. I love the characters. I think the gameplay is fun when I have friends with me. But I just don't know if I'll play it like I played Destiny. I don't see how they're going to get me that involved in it. I hope they can prove me wrong, because I had a lot of hype for the game coming in. And my biggest question is, you want to compare it to Destiny, why wasn't it more full-featured at launch? Like, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery in gaming. It's a thing they've said since I was a kid. If you were going to copy Destiny, why did you copy the, amount of content from launch Destiny when you know it was a problem, and not have more content ready? You can blame COVID or whatever, but there should have been more. Alright. I will play it more when the content comes out, but at this point I'm playing maybe twice a week, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just doing some hero challenges. And that's probably going to be my pattern with this game until I complete all of the character's stuff. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they give me a reason to play it more than that. But I just don't know that they will. I haven't really played much other than that, but I did get a chance to watch the missus play Tell Me Why. It's a new game from Don't Nod. They're like the Life is Strange guys. And I'm gonna play it. I think the graphics are pretty cool. I think their art style has always been cool to me, and this definitely looks more like a next gen version of Life is Strange. I did skip Life is Strange 2, so I can't comment on whether or not that one looked better. But it's interesting. It's got one of those, I don't want to say make your own story, but like, you have input in the story and how it plays out. And I always think those are cool experiences. They're fun. So I will definitely check it out later. And it was fun watching the missus play. Jumping into news. I really don't have much for Nintendo news. Pikmin 3 is coming out soon, but I've had that game on Wii U for years now. I'm excited for it to come out because there's a lot of people that never had a Wii U that are going to get a chance to play Pikmin 3. I myself never really liked it that much. My kids did. I played it. It's not a bad game. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess is what you'd say. Other than that, I haven't really seen much. They don't have a lot of information right now. Like, I know we're waiting on Bravely Default 2, but I've seen nothing on it. We know, Pokemon Snap is coming, but we don't know when. I don't really want to talk about it when all we have is that early reveal trailer that other people have discussed, many times before. There's no need for my opinion on just that. So, until they give us another direct or, some good information, I guess I'll just skip over, hop onto Sony. So, Sony had the teardown video. I feel like there was a lot of craziness that came out of that video. I believe Digital Foundry did an Xbox teardown video months ago. They were invited to the Xbox headquarters to, I guess it was already torn apart. They were putting one back together, a Series X. Teardown videos are cool. I myself am never going to take my system completely apart, but it is cool to see the insides and see all the stuff they did. That heatsink is massive, so I don't anticipate seeing the system overheat. I feel like a lot of people threw a fit about this screw. I didn't understand whatever you want to call it, the screw controversy, Screwgate. All right. Are you guys out there changing your system from horizontal to vertical regularly? Because that's not how I do it. My PlayStation, I got a PS4 when it came out, and I decided I liked it better lying flat, so it's been lying flat. I replaced it with a PS4 Pro when that came out, and I just kept it lying flat in the same place. And then I replaced that with a God of War PS4 Pro, and it's still lying flat in the same exact place. I've never been one to change my system's orientation multiple times. So, as far as I can tell, that screw is going to be a either once period type deal, or a handful of times throughout the 5 to 7 years you're playing that system. I don't really see why it would be an issue. The bigger thing to me, as I saw that, is they showed the hard drive is soldered onto the motherboard, right? So I know that Sony has a super fast hard drive. I'm excited to see exactly how fast it is. They say 5,500 megabytes a second with compression, decompression, pushing somewhere around 9 gigs, which is absurd. You're talking 100 times faster than what we currently have. That's absurd. That's the only word I can use to describe that. But I am a little bit concerned as I see that it's soldered onto the motherboard, because I actually did have a hard drive fail in my PlayStation. My PS4 Pro hard drive failed. It's obviously rare. Hard drives don't fail all the time, but every hard drive has a failure rate. And in all the systems and computers and whatnot I've only had it happen once. But when it happened, I was out of warranty, and I ended up having to buy a new hard drive. Now, I took it as an opportunity to upgrade. I grabbed a SSD off Amazon and threw that in. And, the system loads a little faster now. That's pretty nice. It's not as significant an upgrade as you would get in a computer, but it definitely is a little bit quicker. But the point of the matter is, it was easy enough to do. They made it so there's just this little compartment that you pop off, take the hard drive out, take it out of its little mount, put your new hard drive in, put it in, and you install the OS off of a USB flash drive. I see the hard drive that's built in to the motherboard of the PS5, and I can't help but wonder, if that fails, are we allowed to use the expansion slot to boot our system, or is it only usable as an expansion slot? Because if you can't use it to boot the system, you're not replacing that soldered on motherboard. That's just not going to happen. If you can't boot off an external drive, or that, not external, the internal drive, the additional expandable drive, I should say, then you lose your PlayStation if the hard drive fails. Again, I don't think hard drives fail regularly, but it's going to happen for some of us. And I mean, that's a problem to me. So I need an answer. Can I use the expandable NVMe slot to boot my system in the event that the built-on storage fails? I'd like to know that, Sony. So if you hear this, shoot a tweet, let us know. And if anyone else hears this that can ask Sony, ask them. I want to know. Moving on from that, they gave us some back compat info, but I feel only a little bit more informed than I did before they gave us this information. So let me preface this by saying that I don't think back compat is some be-all, end-all feature that truly matters like that. I think it's cool. It's nice to bring your games with you. I typically buy new systems to play new games. I have an Xbox One here. I thought it was really cool when it added backwards compatibility, but I barely ever used it. I think I played through the Gears games with a friend of mine who was new to Xbox, and I played through them again with a friend of mine who we just missed 3 at the time, so we hopped through that one. But it's not like I am like, oh man, I can't wait to play back compat games. I'm looking forward to new games. That's why I want new hardware. My thing with this is, early on, I believe we heard, I think it was Jim Ryan said that the PS5 would be backwards compatible with it was Mark Cerny said the PS5 would be backwards compatible with the top 100 PS4 games at launch. And I believe they said that any game released after either June or July had to be certified to work with the PS5. So it was like right around the time The Last of Us 2 was coming out and Ghost of Tsushima was coming out. But then we heard Jim Ryan say it was going to be backwards compatible with like 4,000 titles, like 99% of games. But he didn't really give a date, so we started getting the impression that maybe it was going to be 100 games at launch, and then more games added over time, similar to how the 360 was backwards compatible with original Xbox games, or how the backwards compatibility was added to the Xbox One. It was like update after update added more games. So now we get word that apparently it's going to be fully backwards compatible day one. Or not fully, there is a selection of games, but it's very small, and they're like, I don't want to knock anyone that does like them, but they're games that I'm sure aren't that popular. So no one's really going to be heartbroken that they're not there. But then if you read the fine print, there's 2 things that really got me. One of them says that a game being backwards compatible doesn't mean that all modes are backwards compatible. So I'm not sure exactly how to take that. Are you just saying that there's going to be like VR modes or certain things that use like special controllers or whatnot that won't work? Or are we looking at like I'm turning on Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and multiplayer works but zombies don't, or vice versa, or some craziness like that? I need a little bit more clarification on that, because that is going to be a problem for me if there's main modes to a game missing. But the second one was honestly the more confusing one to me. It essentially tells you, before you purchase any DLC for a back compat game, to play the game a good amount of time to make sure that its performance lives up. Now, Microsoft is essentially guaranteeing that every game that works on an Xbox One is going to work on a Series X, with the exception of Kinect titles, and it's going to work the same or better, in most cases better, because the OS is pretty much the same. The system was built to be backwards compatible. It's part of its foundation. It's not being added on, as I personally believe the PlayStation's backwards compatibility is. But if you're warning me, hey, don't buy stuff for this game until you've played it to see how well it works, does that mean that you're claiming 99% backwards compatibility, and yet you know that a lot of your games, or at least a selection of your games, aren't going to run well? Because if they don't run, at least as good as they did on the previous system, I don't consider them backwards compatible. It's like if you have an emulator on your PC that only runs games at half speed, you don't have a working emulator. Okay? You've got to be able to run games like they were meant to be run. So I'd like a little more clarification on what kind of games we could be expecting to have performance issues, and how many. But like I said in the beginning of this, rant, I'm not a big backwards compatible guy. I think it's a cool feature, especially for people that might have missed a generation. Like if you're someone that was an Xbox gamer this gen and now you're getting a PS5 and you can play PS4 games, awesome. If you're someone that was a PlayStation gamer this gen and never had an Xbox One and now you're getting a Series X and you can play all these Xbox games, awesome. But I don't believe most people buy game systems to play backwards compatible games. It's a cool feature to have. It's not something that's needed. Moving on from that, they changed up the trophy system. I listened to the Xbox 2 podcast, and those guys gave a pretty cool take on this. Rand and Jez. I didn't know about it when it first happened. I heard about it on the Xbox 2 podcast, so I looked it up. I hopped on my PlayStation. I checked to see the effects. I was like a level 12, and now I'm 202. I'm not exactly sure like what criteria made you go higher or lower. My cousin was only one level ahead of me before, and now he's like 30 levels ahead of me, or maybe 40 almost. So I don't know like what value was put onto each trophy. I've always liked that PlayStation had a leveling system. I wish there was more tangible benefit to it. I wish like hitting certain levels would get you like free content. And I don't mean like a free game. I would never expect them to give away games for earning achievements, but it'd be cool if, like, for instance, you go up 10 levels on your PlayStation level and you get a free theme from the PlayStation Store, or free avatars or something like that. Just something to give you a reward. And the Xbox guys on the Xbox 2 podcast, they questioned, why hasn't Microsoft done anything to change achievements? They added rare achievements, which is nice, but like they've given us no leveling system, no reward system. They haven't followed Sony's lead and split DLC achievements away from standard achievements, which I personally wish they would do. I, for one, also think that they should, change it up. Give us some sort of leveling system or something. I used to be an achievement whore when they first came out. I didn't have a lot of money, so I wasn't gaming on all these different games, but I probably put up 18 to 20,000 points my first year playing 360. And like I wasn't playing games that had easy achievements. I wasn't hunting achievements like that. But nowadays it's really not hard to grab a game off the True Achievements list, or whatever achievement website you go to, that gets you an easy 1,000 points or easy 500 points or whatever for $1, $2, $3, and inflate your score grossly. I mean, I see people on my Gamerscore leaderboard that's putting up 30,000 points a month. So it devalued achievements, and the rare achievements helped with that. But there has to be something better. There has to be a better system for Microsoft to do, and I got to look more into this Sony revitalization, so I understand why I jumped as much as I did and why my cousins seemed to jump higher. Moving on from that, right now for Sony, I'm waiting on more coverage from anywhere for influencers, publications, whatever, for more actual PS5 hands-on. We're getting, I think, 2 weeks now worth of Series X hands-on from people on YouTube, on Twitter, on different websites. Windows Central, Tom Warren out there, Jeff Grubb, IGN's got some stuff. Digital Foundry had some really fun stuff. I love those guys and their content. I don't know why we're not seeing as much PlayStation stuff. PlayStation comes out 2 days later. I would have assumed Sony would have been somewhere similar in timing for getting their stuff out. Maybe they were. Maybe they just had a different embargo where no one can talk about it yet. I don't know. But I'd like to see more PlayStation stuff. I don't have one pre-ordered. I wanted to pre-order one, but we kind of got surprised with the pre-orders despite them saying they wouldn't surprise us. So I'm going to be hunting one down. I hope to find one soon. I don't want to go too long without one. I like to have every game system at launch. But I do want more hands-on impressions on what the PS5 can do, especially like Spider-Man I'm looking forward to. The big one for me is Demon's Souls. I want to know performance. I want to know if there's any additional content or if it's just a straight remake. That game looks amazing. I don't know if you guys are all Souls fans. I'm sure some of you aren't. The game is terribly hard. I didn't actually finish the first Demon's Souls, so I look forward to going back and dying 10,000 times and hopefully beating the game after that. Moving on to Xbox. So there were some overheating rumors that were actually spread by a clip from the Xbox 2 podcast that someone kind of snipped just what they wanted so they could say some bad stuff about the Xbox. I don't have one. I'm not an influencer. No one sent me a Series X. I got one pre-ordered and I can't wait to get it. But I live my life based in logic. And logically, if this system had overheating issues, there's no world in which Microsoft would have sent so many out to people and members of the press and YouTube and whatnot this early. They would have wanted to hide that. All right, that's what big companies do. They don't want the bad press coming out of, hey, your system's overheating, now no one's going to buy it. So I don't buy that it's overheating. And if you actually listen to the full thing from the Xbox 2 podcast with Jez, where it was originally taken that there was heating issues, I believe Rand even threw it into a separate video, so you don't have to listen to the whole podcast if you want. He very clearly explained it's actually not overheating. It's doing what you want your electronics to do. Pull in air, expel hot air from the vents. That's that. That's what it's supposed to do. It's still cool to the touch, he said. And I believe Microsoft came out and said that its heat output is no higher than the One X. It's like in the same as the One X, and the One X didn't have overheating problems. I don't think Microsoft will ever put out a system like the 360 that has massive overheating issues again. They learned their lesson. The system's going to work fine. I'd like to see more actual Series X games running on it, but the system is going to work fine. It's not going to overheat like crazy on us. I just don't believe that that's the case. We've had a lot more back-compat coverage, some more stuff unlocked, I guess, is what I would say this week. More embargoes came up. Pretty much it's more of the same, though. Anything that ran on your Xbox One runs better on your Series X. It forces things like 16 times endoscopic filtering, which gives a better image for off-angle details and shadows. I mean, Digital Foundry will explain that so much better than me. I don't want you guys to listen to me. Go to Digital Foundry if you want to know anything more about that kind of tech. But for the most part, everything they gave us this week was just more of what they gave us last week. If you play a game on Xbox One and you put it on your Series X, you're not going to want to play it on your Xbox One again. Series X runs it better. It looks better. It plays better. And that's what we all wanted, right? There was some Dirt 5 coverage. We got some actual next-gen coverage. That's exciting for me. That's really what I've been waiting for. I am a little bit, disappointed that pretty much everyone that's covered it has said that it doesn't really look so much like you would expect next gen. Like, it doesn't look like the Gran Turismo video we saw or the brief Forza video we saw, it does look better. The 120 hertz mode, Digital Foundry broke down. It looks like it runs at 120 hertz. And yes, there's, visual cuts made. If you guys have a computer, like, you make cuts. Whatever your computer can run your games at 4K, 60 frames, if you want 120 frames, you've got to cut some stuff down. I would like to see it with, final optimized code to see what it ends up looking like, because a lot of those optimizations for visuals come towards the very end. What Digital Foundry showed, I thought looked really good. I thought the deformation on the ground, in the snow, in the mud, looked really good. The rain buildup looked good. The gameplay is going to be solid. Codemasters has been making good racing games, and I believe this is actually the Onrush team, they said. I really liked that game, too. And the Onrush team is the Drive Club team. The only thing that disappoints me about that is Drive Club was visually incredible. I mean, still is to this day, 7 years later, so I wish they would have pushed the visuals a little more. But again, we don't have final code, so maybe they will. The last thing with Xbox, so they did this commercial, and I'm torn on the commercial. I appreciate your live action commercials. I prefer just a in-game trailer. I guess I see the benefit to both methods. I wish they would have utilized both. If you guys remember when they first showed the Series X, they led with that first Power Your Dreams commercial where we didn't really know what was going on. It was all these glowing orbs and some older gentlemen talking about what if you could dream and control your dream, and 75 years worth of dreams and all of this stuff. And then it showed the system, and we got a couple quick snippets of a Forza car, or at least I think a Forza car, driving over a cliff area, and that was a really cool video. But then they followed that up with Hellblade 2 in-engine footage. I feel like this would have been better received had they followed it up with more Hellblade 2 or whatever the hell the initiative's doing. Or, I guess it's probably too soon for an update on Halo Infinite after it was delayed, but something next-gen in-game that's next-gen only to really say, hey, this is why you're buying the system. As for the video itself, I'll throw it up on my screen real quick. Let me turn it down a little. So, you've got the guy from Get Out coming home, I guess, from a hard day's work, I would assume. He throws on his headset, and it's just saying, hey, Xbox takes you out of reality, and it puts you into all these other realities. You're in, I believe that's Valhalla. I don't know what's going on here with this Halo footage and a head eating a planet. It makes it like you're Chief. You're not playing as Chief, you are Chief, which is pretty cool. Right now he's taking his helmet off, and it's going to be him. And there's always been the thing about what does Chief look like under the helmet. And I've always felt like they never showed you what Chief looked like under the helmet, simply because they want you to feel like he's you. He's kind of one of those old protagonists. I mean, he's not voiceless, but I don't know. I watched this, all these different planets, the girl standing on top of hers, upside down over his. Show both systems. That looks dope. It's a cool trailer to me. It is. But I don't know, it's missing gameplay. It's missing the stuff that I think I should be getting a month out from release. This would have been really cool to open an E3 video or close an E3 video, or one of those game shows, Gamescom, whatever. And I can't stress enough that I do like it. I think it's a good video. I just think it should have had some big gameplay angle too. More Hellblade. I can't wait to see more Hellblade. I, for one, believe that Hellblade looks exactly as they showed it. I'm not someone that thinks that was some sort of, bullshot type deal. Hellblade 1 blew me away. Hellblade 1 blows me away on the Switch, so Hellblade 2 is definitely going to blow me away when it's built for the kind of power next gen has. I just think that they probably mismanaged this by not showing some gameplay too. A lot of people would rather just see a game. That's just true. Moving on. I only got 2 real topics left, and they'll be quick. Multi-platform stuff. We saw NBA 2K. NBA 2K looked great. They gave some gameplay details after the original trailer was released, and it sounds like they are trying to redo the gameplay with the power of these new systems, which is good because if you remember, they're one of the first companies that said, hey, our games are going to $70, and with that, they explained that it was worth $70 because it wasn't just a graphically better version of the game. It was actually a full-on new game experience built from the ground up for next gen. So I like that they're actually showing that they did that. The visuals is pretty much everything I can take from that trailer. That's really all it was. It's an eye candy trailer. It looked great. I mean, it looked a lot better than current gen. I don't know that the leap was as big as 2K13 to 14. I myself am not a big NBA 2K player. I owned NBA 2K. I owned 2K1. I owned 2K6, 2K13, or 2K14, and I will own 2K21. If you are keeping up, that means that I only get NBA 2K at the start of a generation just because I really like to see how much better the visuals become generation to generation. Sports games have always been a fairly solid displayer of console's power and the difference in one generation to another. I don't think it was bull. I think that the game will look like that. I'd like to see what kind of resolution it's going to run at, what kind of modes it's going to have. Will they try to push 120 hertz? I don't know if that's really needed in a basketball title. Will they be pushing full-on 4K, dynamic 4K? I want to know all that stuff, and Digital Foundry will give it all to me in probably a month or so. But until then, it impressed me. It definitely impressed me. I mean, there were a couple, oh my god moments. I'm going to be honest, there's this spot where Klay Thompson winked at me, and I felt a little uncomfortable. I was like, dude, you didn't buy me dinner or nothing. You can't just hit me with winks like that. That's not okay. I kid. But it was really impressive. I look forward to actually playing the game. I'm not that good at it. I'll get smoked by pretty much everyone I play with. But I'll have some fun getting smoked and looking at how pretty next-gen games are. Lastly, they did a Mortal Kombat reveal. I did a Mortal Kombat reveal reaction trailer, so I don't want to get too much into this. Check out that trailer, or not trailer, video, I mean, if you guys want to see my reaction to it and learn about a giveaway I've got planned. I am going to be giving away a little money for each of my videos if they hit certain likes, and if the Mortal Kombat video hits an absurdly high like count, I'm going to give away 4 copies of the game. One for Xbox, one for PlayStation, one for Nintendo, and one for Steam. Provided it's on Steam. If it's not, I'll just ask the community which system they want me to give a second copy out for. And I'll do that. That's if it hits an absurdly... I set it at 1,000 likes. So if it hits 1,000 likes, which I know is probably impossible, but if you guys want a shot at a free copy of Mortal Kombat, go ahead, click that button. And I guarantee you, I will distribute those codes if it hits 1,000. As for the game, they're finally adding Mileena. That's cool. I really like the design of Rain. And the Rambo thing. I mean, I'm not a huge Rambo fan. But realistically, they got RoboCop. They got Terminator. Adding Rambo, you pretty much added the big characters from the 80s action flicks. So, that's cool. I'm going to get to have the Terminator and Rambo fight. I'd like to see what else they have to add. The rest of my reactions to that are on that reaction video, so by all means check it out if you're interested. that really wraps it up for me. I think I'm at a little over 30 minutes right now. I guess that actually went longer than the last one. I apologize. I hope it seemed a little more focused this time. Especially to the guy that suggested an outline. I tried to follow it as best as I could. Man, sometimes I suck at Tony Hawk. I'm looking at this video right now and I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have played this. People are going to see that I'm not that good. Like, I have a couple go-to moves, like the hand plant manual with hand flips that get me high scores, but other than that, I'm not as good as I was when I was a kid. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm old or because I don't have the time to play, 30 hours a week like I used to. But that's getting back off topic. So, thanks for checking out the podcast. If you liked it, if you like the content that I bring, do me a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe. I will be giving away $10 digital currency gift cards to a random subscriber anytime one of my videos hits 100 likes. And I'll just reach out to the subscriber and ask, hey, where do you want the $10? And they'll tell me PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, Steam, whatever, and I'll give them a $10 code for it. I'm not really going to go too far beyond that with giveaways until after I see whether or not this actually can build big enough to matter. That's pretty much it from me. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Red Cloud Gamer out. See you guys next time.